Hello YouTube, this is Bruno. In this video I will show you a mangrove farm that I developed, and I'm really happy with this design. It's actually rather easy to build as far as tree farms go. It gives over 9,000 logs per hour. Our player Steve here stands AFK in the farm. That's a carpet bot, holds ewes and plants the propagules. Mangrove trees will grow here. In all of this mess is a piston column that pushes out the stems. And on top we have a rather fast TNT duper that breaks all the stems. They drop into a water collection system and end up here in a little storage. So you might wonder, Frono, this looks like any old tree farm in Minecraft. What's so special about it? Well, the thing is that mangrove tree farms have turned out to be hard, because mangroves grow quite different from all other trees, which interferes with the operation of normal tree farms. So previously, mangrove farms were either much more complicated or much slower. After giving you the rundown of the farm, I will tell you a bit about why mangrove farming is so hard and why I designed the farm like I did. Before we get to the redstone, of course. All of this is 100% vanilla Minecraft. These command blocks here are just there to resupply the bone meal and the propagules so that we can stand AFK for many hours. And here are a few command blocks that allow us to get rid of all this foliage. So we can stop the farm, get rid of all the foliage, and see what's inside. So mangrove farming turned out to be hard. Ilmangos even called his video on mangrove farming the hardest tree farm. Over time, these farms got a bit easier, like this one from Iceberg Lettuce. But you know, there had to be something better out there. Something that was more robust, easier to build, and faster. Then came IanXOFour's tree farm, and Madman25 made a mangrove version. Now this farm is already pretty close to what I was looking for, because it's fairly simple to build, but the rates are not that great. A lot of the blocks are destroyed or land on the chains, and there are only limited ways to supply the player with bone meal and propagules. So this farm is great if you need a few stacks of mangrove logs, but if you need huge amounts, we can do better. And if you are looking for a mangrove farm with good rates, I hope this is the farm you're looking for. Mangrove farming has turned out to be hard, even unruly to say the least, because look at this mess. The tree doesn't grow exactly where we have the propagules. We have these roots extending everywhere. So a natural idea is to grow the mangrove over a water collection system, like this. And then have a TNT duper on top, break it. There are ways to shield this dirt block, as for example IanXOFour does in a simple tree farm. Quite a lot of items will land on the roots and not go into the water collection. And if we have large mangroves, the TNT will just land on top and break the upper part. And then the next TNT will break all the items that landed there. So only a small part of the item actually ends up in the water stream. But maybe the worst part is that when the mangrove roots go into water, they form water sources. So the collection system that was designed to move all of the items into the center here suddenly doesn't work anymore. So the curious thing is that mangroves theoretically require a 5x5 empty space, but it doesn't have to be above the block where the propagules are set. So here we have a propagule, and 6 blocks higher we have a platform, and if we bone meal this propagule, a tree will grow. Now that's still rather unruly. However, Nadni Lula discovered that by just adding a couple of blocks, like this, we can ensure that the tree grows completely on top of this platform. Let's give it a try. And that's exactly what we want. The tree grows on top of the platform, and the tree also reliably starts at this level. And this means we can build a completely normal tree farm. So these are the blocks that make sure that the tree grows on top. So of course we can also use redstone and other blocks. And here we have a detection system. So the tree grows. The detection system will activate this piston column. Whenever a log generates here, this double piston extender will activate and push the middle column out towards the TNT duper. Actually, that's easier to build in other tree farms because we can have a lot of the growing redstone here below. So here we have a switch that enables the TNT duper, but also the bone meal. this is the spot where the propagules are planted. And for this video I have just used a few barrels with bone meal behind. The propagule is bone mealed, the tree grows, center column is pushed out, the TNT duper breaks the whole stuff. Actually, if you grow the first trees, it can happen that the roots extend here into the water. So let's fix this. But if we have any logs here in this column, then the roots won't extend down. And after the first tree, remember we always generate a mangrove log here on top of this spot. So there will be a log. So the next tree won't have any roots going into this water collection. So what's all this redstone? Well, there's a nasty habit of mangrove trees. Let's say the tree has grown and you push out the logs and these pistons are in the process of retracting. If there's already the next propagule planted below here, the tree might grow and will generate roots right here in the spot where the piston head is. I'm not sure if this is a bug. You could end up with something that looks like this. And now our detection system is broken. So we don't want that. To prevent this, there's a rather simple remedy. We just block this exit. So now there's a block on top of the propagule. We use this piston to push this block over. So we have our detection system here. We detect that we have a block. Let's simulate this. This redstone line activates this piston, but we also have a secondary extension because it could happen that this piston is already retracting and we still have to protect it. So here on this side we have another piston that activates this, and we also have a little bit of delay that protects our piston wall. So the important thing is that this block will be held here until the pistons are fully retracted. Of course, to save bone meal, if we have a propagule here and we would have this clock active, then the propagule would be bone mealed. So we also push over a redstone block that will power all these dispensers permanently. So we will stop bone mealing the block until the piston column is finished. On the other side, we move a block over this observer, which supplies the player with propagules. So here we have a dropper, and here we have a little dropper elevator, and here we have a supply of propagules. It can happen that you plant 2 propagules and one won't grow. This will happen rarely, but it will use up your propagules, so we just drop 2 propagules, and the excess propagules could be collected using this hopper and be sent back in the propagule storage. And that's basically the redstone. Now we have a bit of more redstone here, and this is like a safety circuit breaker. What can happen is that we reach the push limit. The TNT lands on top of the tree instead of breaking the roots. And if we are lucky or unlucky and we get a lot of trees in a very short time, we might end up with more than 12 blocks in front of the piston. So far so good. And now we're at the push limit. And what I created here is a system that will actually try to push roughly once every 3 seconds. So hopefully, maybe even we forgot to enable the TNT duper. So at some point we will be back at the push limit, the TNT duper will work and the system will still work. Here we have a pulse extender that is powered all the time. If a tree grows and it is pushed out, the redstone power to this pulse extender is cut, but just for about a second. So this is not enough that the pulse extender will run out. So basically, if everything works as normal, so this redstone torch will never activate. However, if we reach the push limit, this pulse extender will run out, and now this turns into a clock. And here we have another pulse extender that has roughly half of the running time. And this pulse extender removes a block that we need for redstone transmission here. So only if this block is in this spot, this piston wall will move. This clock will try and try again until finally the bottom piston can move. So there's no block here anymore. And this pulse extender will once again be powered like that. So perhaps this happens every 10 minutes, but still it's a rather important thing because otherwise the farm would stop. We would be stuck forever in the state. And again, we have to make sure that no propagule grows whenever these pistons move. So even if they move because we have this clock running, we have to close this gap here. And this is why we here have another pulse extender that basically makes sure that whenever this piston here retracts this block and pushes it back, as long as it does this, this hole will be blocked. So I hope the concepts are simple enough. Now if this bottom here looks bad, you don't need to use slime. This is just convenient. Here in the back I have basically the same circuit using just the sticky pistons and a bit of redstone wiring. So if you don't have a slime farm, you can do it like this. Works perfectly. The TNT duper is the TNT duper that IanXOFour uses for a simple tree farm. However, turning it on and off is done by locking a repeater here. I had issues that if I turned off the farm at just the wrong time, it could happen that the TNT duper exploded. And it doesn't happen often, but we don't want that. So I reconfigured this clock a little bit to have both of these redstone torches on one side so that I can lock a repeater from the other side. Now, if you don't know this TNT duper, whenever the observer reads a signal, the TNT is ignited, and if we get another signal, the TNT is dropped and the next TNT is ignited. And if we don't do anything, the TNT will explode harmless in the water. So Ian designed a redstone clock where the on and off cycles are just a bit different by a configurable amount. And this way the height of the TNT explosion alternates. So we have one TNT exploding a bit lower and another TNT exploding at a bit higher. All that is left is to build a little storage here. A very small amount of items will land here on the border or outside, but this water collection system really collects 99% of the drops. You could have a sorting system here or shulker box loaders or whatever you want. For this farm you need a propagule farm. Here's a simple one. It gives us about 20,000 propagules per hour. This will certainly be enough for our needs. We don't have to run it for very long. And it's also fairly compact. We have dispensers on one side, bone mealing the mangrove leaves so that they will grow a small propagule. And then on the other side we have a dispenser bone mealing the propagules 4 times until it's grown. And then the honey pusher will break the propagules, they fall into the water stream and are collected. So I believe it's really worth to build this farm. I mean, the easiest farm that you could probably build is IanXOFour's farm. However, you will also have to build a TNT duper, you will have to build the water collection system and the storage. And if you want to stand there AFK for a longer time, you will need a supply of bone meal and propagules. So the one thing that you have to do for my farm is to build the piston column and the redstone below it. But this is rather moderate effort for a farm that has much higher rates and is fully AFKable. Now with all this empty space here, I wonder if we could build a combined tree farm, perhaps even fully AFKable by adding leaf crushers on the side. But at the very least you could reuse this farm after clearing away a bit of space here by just placing dirt here. And now you have a discount tree farm because you can just have the saplings in the offhand and bone meal in the main hand and grow trees like this. Anyway, I'm very happy with this farm. You will find a world download in the description and of course also links to all the videos I referenced. I will also provide a light Medica file. So leave a like if you enjoyed this video. Leave a comment if you want, for example, a block by block tutorial to build it. And thanks for watching. See you next time. Bye bye.